This past week, I interviewed my former mentor. His name is Micah, and we reviewed a couple high level topics. He's really kept up with my progress through this whole MBA program, and he was really eager to contribute to this assignment. I gave him a brief rundown of the contingency models of Fiedler and also of Hersey and Blanchard. He wasn't a big fan of Fiedler's LPC scale and said he didn't really think it was a helpful tool. He thought it was kind of limited, and that the results only showed if you were task or people oriented, and that you couldn't really go from one to the other or be both. He was a bigger fan of Hersey and Blanchard's approach. Made a lot more sense to Micah. He liked the situational leadership model and how it showed the different quadrants in the little line, and how a leader could be in one of the four quadrants depending on what their followers needed of them. And his opinion was that a true leader should be able to adjust and kind of slide along that scale depending on the requirements of their followers or the followers' readiness, according to the textbook. I think his main takeaway from this was that he had never thought about how leaders can be, or I guess really the psyche of it, how leaders can be task or people oriented, or in his opinion, a combination of the two. And that's something that he took away from it that he really enjoyed was that new perspective and kind of figuring out how what makes people tick. I asked him what he thought his leadership style was, and we both agreed that he is much more of a participator than anything else. In the year I worked with him, he always was a part of everything I did. But while he was involved, he did give me plenty of autonomy to where I knew I could find my own way, establish my own means and methods to get the job done or do whatever he was needing me to do. And I can't really think of a time where he just handed me something without making sure that I knew how to get from point A to point B on the assignment and what I needed to be successful. He had a similar opinion on Stogdell's model for consideration and structure. He liked how Stogdell's model showed that a leader could, and in Micah's opinion, should be proficient in initiating structure while maintaining that high level of consideration for his subordinates. Dr. Rensis' model, however, used logic that prevented an individual from excelling in employee and production orientation. We both agreed that it is vital for leaders to be strong in both to be considered successful in our book. Mike had actually heard of the 5 types of power bases, being expert, referent, legitimate, coercive, and reward. He'd heard of those before, but he just didn't know where they came from or what the origin was. And after familiarizing him with the definitions and giving him a couple of examples of each, we discussed which ones we thought were most beneficial, and I guess got the most done in construction anyways. And he said in the construction industry, in his experience, what he's seen is a wide variety of each being used, but that expert power seems to yield the best results, regardless of a title. People will listen and follow if a leader has been tried and true, and if they believe that the leader will make the right choices and that their experience will get us across the finish line.